Welcome to Romera Records podcast. Today we have on
Nadia Cole.
How's it going, Nadia?
It's going good.
Good. So I had you on from Tori in about a minute. No joke.
That happened so fast.
She texted me back, no joke, in probably about a minute, and I was like, that was fast. So when she texted you, like, what was your like immediate reaction? Like, she didn't even tell me what you said. Like, I didn't know if it was just like a straight yes or.
Oh, I was down for it completely.
You're just super excited.
Yeah, I was like, oh, opportunity's fun. Like, I love
Nice.
talking and I love talking about things I'm passionate about. So I was ready for it.
Nice. So, how do y'all know each other? I know you're from this area, right?
Yes.
Okay, so how do y'all know each other?
It was immediately from social media, but I actually was in a music video for her WAP Prefix recently. So
okay.
The relationship just kind of culminated through that.
Nice. Yeah. I saw the video because I was like, with Tori, we haven't done any real work together other than like the podcast and some other stuff. But like, as far as music wise, we haven't done any work together. So I believe Tori is a great musician. So when I believe in somebody, I invest in them. And if Ryan Olson was in, God, how many podcasts ago was that? It was a few podcasts ago, but I had a guy on named Ryan Olson. Now we're friends, and I have like given him random stuff. He's like, dude, stop giving me stuff. But when I believe in people, I believe in what they're doing. I invest in them.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and got like a subscription through her OnlyFans, and I was like, this is because I believe in what she's doing, and I want to invest in her craft. And so I think people. I think they fail to do that a lot of times with their friends or anybody that they just happen to be in the same career field with. Is you just got to kind of believe in people and support them. And
you do, because at the end of the day, that's what pushes them to keep going further.
Yeah.
Fans are everything, but when it comes to people you personally know, people who are close to you that make you feel like you're doing something very important. And I feel like that's what really pushes people.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know, I don't know how Memphis is for real because I've only been here since April of 2019.
Oh, really?
And it's really been really fun, like getting to know the people that I have, because a lot of them end up working together. And so Ryan, who I was just talking about, he's an audio engineer. So Tori went to him and got a song recorded. And then I've worked with somebody else, and they're like, oh, I know that person, Reggie. So I had a guy on, he's a rapper, Reggie A. And I also had a guy on that does music videos, and his name is SS Productions. Well, I was watching one of Reggie's videos while he was here, and I was like, oh, SS, I had him on a podcast. So it's cool getting those people all connected and everything.
Memphis is a very tight-knit community.
Oh, okay.
Like, we're just a small, big city. It just seems like everybody knows each other, or they know somebody that knows the other person. And so it's very easy to get in contact.
Nice. I mean, do you like that about the area?
I think it has its pros and cons.
Okay.
I like that because it is great for networking, but at the same time, it's only so many people here as well.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it just, it has its pros and cons.
So you basically, you don't like it because it can limit, your fan base,
Yes.
the people who are wanting to view your stuff, and that gets tough. And have you ever thought about moving?
Oh, I think about moving all the time.
Really?
I think about moving all the time, but I don't know
Where would you move to?
I don't even know where I want to go yet. I've considered Las Vegas. I love Vegas.
Yeah.
I've considered Atlanta, New York, places like that, but my heart hasn't really found anywhere yet, and I don't think it's my time to leave Memphis just yet. I think I still got a year or so left here. So,
do you think you can target people in different areas, even just staying here?
I mean, yes, I've done it multiple times, but when it comes to getting a different audience, when it comes to what I do, it's basically just using social media when I travel, tagging certain things, using apps like Tinder. It's so easy to find new clientele and new people to network with.
Oh, okay. So, what would you say is your main? It's like the main thing you use. Like, a lot of people will mainly use like Instagram for their that's how they target people. What would you say how you you get people to view your stuff? Like, what would you say is your main thing?
I want to say Instagram, but I've recently learned that it's Facebook.
Facebook.
Yes,
Wow.
I did a poll recently on my site and I asked people how they found me the most, and everybody voted Facebook. There was a few Instagram, a few Twitter,
All
a few
right.
Snapchat, but Facebook was like the game changer.
So is it your like Nadia Cole Facebook or
Yeah.
so it's your just real person?
Yes.
So so how long have you had that Facebook?
I've actually had that Facebook for probably 11 plus years, but
Oh, wow.
recently is when I just started adding back just about almost everybody that added me. Just kind of
Oh.
using it as like a networking page rather than a personal page. And I think that's what paid off in the end.
Oh, okay. So how are they finding you on Facebook? You're just like
Facebook is just easy for people to pop up on because once you have a certain number of mutual friends, it's, there's on Facebook, there's that like bar where it shows people to add and people you may know. And I guess I just
which
pop
is
up
super
on it.
creepy sometimes.
It's so creepy. Like, and the thing with Facebook too is if you don't change the settings on your phone, if you're in the same like room as somebody, like same venue, they can literally find your Facebook because it's a location thing.
Oh, snap.
So
I never thought about that. That's crazy.
it's very crazy.
Dang. So when you find these people and they start adding you and stuff like that, do you feel obligated to post like certain stuff to cater to what, your fans are really wanting to see, or do you just like, it's Facebook, I just post what I feel like posting?
Yeah, well, for the most part, I kind of do both. I'll do what I feel like posting, and then I'll also consider the type of people I have on my Facebook and how to market.
Okay.
And that's just, I like to market to just about everyone because
yeah.
I like to have, different varieties of people who want to come see my stuff because I'm a very multifaceted person. I'm not just one type. I can do literally all of it. So
okay.
I like to just, play with it.
So when okay, so first of all, what is your like main thing that you do?
My main thing that I do is dancing.
Okay, so dancing is your. So when it comes to dancing, like what would you say people are looking for? Like what kind of content are they wanting to see?
Like in the club, you say, or
Whatever.
just in general?
So first of all, you're in a club?
Yes, I'm in
Okay.
a club.
Yeah, we're starting with basics. I don't
Yes,
know anything.
The basics. I dance in a club.
Okay.
Locally, I've traveled a few times as well, but when it comes to, I guess, what people want to see is they just want to see naked women. That's about it. But at the same time, that's not all that the club is, and that's not all that being a stripper is.
Yeah.
A lot of people will think that it's just dancing, but in reality, we're therapists. We are friends. We are talking to people about literally anything and everything. So dancing is probably a good 20% of the job.
Okay. So when you are, how much content can you really post of the dancing? Are you just talking about like
dancing?
at home stuff?
I think it depends. It depends on the club that you're working at as well and what they allow for you to post. I tend to be on the club's pages a lot, so they'll post what they want of me dancing. Other clubs, they're less strict, and you can, take videos of you dancing on their stage and share that. But when it comes to dancing at home, I just upload that to my OnlyFans, or I, sell that to people separately.
Okay. So at the clubs, do they have like a set time? It's like before, if it opens at like 6 or something like that, do you just get there a little early and take videos, or is it like during your actual time, like when you're actually working?
I would do it on slow days. Days that are like early on a Sunday night, maybe, when it's nobody in there, because I don't want to get any customers in the video. I don't want to get any other women in the video, just me. So it'd have to be a very slow night.
Oh, okay. So where are you at?
I'm at Purple Diamond currently.
Purple Diamond? So if you had to rank the places around here, how would you rank them? Is Purple Diamond like at the top?
Purple Diamond's number one.
Number one? Okay.
There's no doubt about that. You could say I'm biased because I genuinely haven't worked at the other clubs, but I don't want to.
Okay.
Purple Diamond.
So you only work there? Okay.
They only work there here. And the place is great. The management is great. The women are great. I love the customer base as well. And it's no reason for me to try anywhere else here.
Okay. So when I don't know, Did you try anywhere else?
Like outside of here or in the
Here,
city?
yeah, in this
No,
area.
I didn't.
It was just like the first place?
It was the first place I went to. I had never even been in a strip club before I worked in one.
That's crazy.
Honestly, I'd never been in one before. I did not know what to expect. And I had a connection, so I decided to go and
Dang.
got hired on the spot. And it was just no reason for me to try anywhere else. I just loved it there.
So as far as dancing wise, like what prior history did you have with dancing? Like, did you do any kind of like ballet as a kid?
When I was younger, I did ballet.
You did
tap.
ballet?
Yeah, when I was younger. And then after that, I got into sports a little bit. But
Okay.
I hadn't done anything since I was younger. But I had the desire to. So it
Yeah.
eventually was going to come back up some way or other.
So what made you take the jump into dancing at a club?
I was working at a restaurant beforehand, and I was doing just about everything. I was there. They didn't have like a management position, but they had a supervisor, which was the highest I could go there. So I was doing that. I was cooking. I was serving. And it just got to the point where I was doing too much. And I felt that even though I was getting paid a great rate for a restaurant, I wasn't being paid enough for my time and my mental health. And I could feel my mental health just deteriorating.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to get back into that space again. So in my mind, I was thinking, what can I do where I can make more money than what I'm doing now with doing less work and being happy? And, some people are just like, they're like, that's not a thing.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
not a thing. But it is. And I decided, that night I went home and I was just thinking to myself, what can I do? What can I do? And I saw on YouTube a dancer. I saw her, I believe, what was her name? Nina's 420 Life, I believe it was.
Never heard of her.
And she's a stripper in LA, and I think she goes between LA and Atlanta. But I watched some of her videos, and I was really inspired. I was like, wow, strippers make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Strippers make a lot of money. They get to be free. I've always felt very good in my own body. So I was like, you know what? Like, I can try this. At the time, I hardly knew any dance moves. I had to practice in the mirror a little bit. I was going to teach myself as much as I knew before I made the jump. And finally, once I worked up the courage, I went in. Didn't even have to audition. They just hired me, so I was very thankful for that. And the next week after that, I just observed other dancers and figured out what my routine would be from there.
So YouTube.
YouTube, man.
It's a
YouTube.
killer.
It is a killer. And I learned how to do as much as I could on my own.
So is there like, other than the female you were just talking about, like is that I don't know, a thing where you just go and find these specific people who were just like killing it and then you just watch what they do?
A little bit, yes. I was doing my research. I'm a type of person where I don't like to jump into things blind. I like to, kind of see what I'm doing. I like to hear other people's perspectives first. Yeah, I wanted to research. So I watched Nina's 420. I also watched a woman named Jasmine Black. I watched her videos. And they both had very interesting perspectives on stripping because they danced in different cities. But I didn't know any Memphis strippers to like ask advice from. So I was still kind of going in a little bit blindfolded.
Yeah.
But I had a bigger idea from people who were in places that are a lot more competitive than Memphis. So I went in like pretty, ready for whatever it could throw at me, I felt like.
Okay. So, I mean, it's kind of I feel like stripping is a very hard thing to like get information from because of what you were talking about earlier. Like the club doesn't want you just like taking video all the time. And even your content, you're like, I don't want 2 other girls in my video and like one of my customers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it's kind of hard to like find people who are killing it other than like taking a trip to Las Vegas and just going to the clubs and stuff like that. Like, I would assume they're doing the best. I would assume like LA, Vegas, Atlanta, and I don't know where else. But like I would feel like those cities are probably killing it more than anybody else. Maybe like Miami or somewhere like that.
Atlanta's like a stripper city.
Really?
Yeah, I actually haven't danced in Atlanta yet. I'd love to one day, but yeah, as far as stripping goes, there's no one way to do it.
Yeah.
And there's nobody there guiding you necessarily unless there's like what we call a veteran stripper, which is like the oldest who's been there the longest. They're called the veterans. Unless a veteran stripper is willing to, show you around and show you the ropes, it's really you just learn by messing up consistently.
How frequent is that?
Oh, all the time. Even I still mess up sometimes.
Well, no, I'm talking about like a veteran.
Oh, like a veteran stripper helping somebody?
I would assume This is just me, but I would assume y'all aren't nice to each other.
You would,
I'm sure you have a good community, but
yeah, honestly, I think it depends when it comes to like the friendliness of the club. I think it depends on where you're at.
yeah.
And especially if it's your home club or not. Like I did have some rude people when I first started, but for the most part, my club is very family-like, which I really love. But I've noticed that when I travel, the girls of that home club can either be really, really sweet or they can act very competitive.
You're in their territory.
Yeah, it's like a territorial thing.
Yeah.
And to me, I never view it as competition.
Okay.
Because I just see it as like I'm going to make what I'm supposed to make and you're going to make what you're supposed to make. And
Yep.
that's just divine to me. Like that's just a part of my mentality.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I need to compete with the next woman because the next woman isn't me and I'm not her. So everybody likes what they like. Everybody will get their piece of cake.
Yeah.
So that's
Somebody
just-
was telling me about when Stormy Daniels came in the area, like all the strippers that were at the club that she went to were like they were hating on her because it's, like she's a really famous person,
Yeah.
and so but she's not a real stripper, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she did porn and stuff like that, and that's what she's mainly known for. So for her to just come out there, she could just come out and basically do nothing.
Do nothing to make her money. And
Exactly.
Go. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would be upset. You know what I mean? Like somebody
Yeah.
just comes to your job and doesn't not half the work that you do and make twice the money.
Yeah.
that
It's
would
like
make me upset.
part of that is like, of course, when somebody, who is famous comes to your club, they're getting the attention. They're
Yeah.
going to make the most money that night. And it just is what it is. But to me, when I see that, I'm just like, wow, this person has literally cultivated this reality for themselves. Like they literally did all the work that they needed to do to be able to just walk in a club and ball out on all these other women.
Yeah.
And so in the moment, it might suck because I'm like, wow, I'm not going to make as much tonight. But then I see that, I'm like, wow, I'm really inspired. I hope that I can be that level of dope one day.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, is there certain people that you are really looking up to right now that you've already like, oh man, I want to be like that?
There's no one person in particular, no like big names or anything, but I just see other women that I work with and I admire certain qualities about them. And, that drives me to do the same or try to do the best that I can as well. So it's no one person. I just kind of watch and observe everyone and what I like, I will, take heed to.
Oh, okay. Is there do you have a certain feeling about people who are like, I guess, trying to like dabble in that like sex worker type thing, but not really? The biggest person I can think of right now, it bothers me so bad, is, God, what is that chick's name?
You're talking about Bella Thorne.
No, this chick is like, she's very popular on Instagram, but like most of her pictures, she's a singer, but like all of her photos and videos and stuff are like her pretty much half naked.
Yeah.
I can't think of her name. Oh man, that's gonna bother me. But yeah, like does that upset you? Because I mean, they're in it, but they're not in it. You know what I mean?
It's like they're not really doing it because I'm not even going to say not because they want to be sex work, because there's plenty of people who are in, the sex industry who don't want to be doing it necessarily.
Yeah.
And that's, part of survival sex work. But when it comes to like influencers who want to make the profits, but they don't really want to identify with necessarily being a sex worker or advocating for the community or anything like that, they just want the profit.
Yeah.
And I do see a problem with that.
Yeah.
I don't like seeing that at all. So
is there, I don't know, is there any kind of like pushback amongst people who are actually in sex work that are like, yo, stop doing what you're like, you're just a poser?
Yeah, all the time. It feels like it's always something new at this point, especially since online sex work is a much bigger thing now than it was before. Like ever since the pandemic started, even before the pandemic started, but definitely since the pandemic started happening, sex work has skyrocketed in the online world because people needed to make money. People wanted a fast way to make money, and it was the quickest, or what people think was the quickest way to get it. So,
actually, I was going to ask you about that. So, when did Purple Diamond close down?
They closed down March of last year. They were closed for 8 months. I believe we reopened in December. We were open for about a month, and then we shut down again just recently. So,
oh, snap.
Yeah, we are closed again until January 22nd as of right now.
So was there any kind of like plan, or did they just like, hey, we'll let you know when you can come back?
Yeah, it's just,
Dang.
we don't really know. It's just all up to the city. We
Yeah.
can't really decide anything, and we're not going to, fight it.
So are people wearing masks there? Like how was that?
Yes, we are following every possible protocol that we can just because we want to stay open.
Yeah.
We want to be able to do our thing because restaurants are able to be open, so we want to be able to be open.
Yeah.
We had, the bars in front of the stage where people couldn't get near it. It's all social distancing as we're supposed to. Everybody's wearing masks. And, yeah, we're just doing everything we're supposed to. But
That's crazy.
since apparently the COVID spike happened in Memphis, I think we were supposedly, like, worse than the world or something like that.
Jesus.
I know. That's what they're reporting. So that's why Memphis closed down the entertainment centers again. I think they closed capacity or changed the capacity for restaurants again, but I'm not quite sure what that is.
Oh, okay.
I just know entertainment industries are closed for a month at least.
So did you connect with like the other girls that were working, or like how did y'all just like, all right, I'll see y'all when we open back up?
Yeah, I mean, some girls I'm cool with on social media or I know outside the club, but for the most part, it's just see you when I see you.
Dang.
Hope you make it. Hope you do good. Hope you travel.
Swim.
Yeah.
Don't drown.
Yeah, don't drown.
That's
Good luck.
wild. Mm-hmm. So what are you doing, I guess, like, I mean, you had all this free time. Like, did you find something else to do? Did you, figure something else out? Like, did something new just like come into your head? Like, oh, I can do this.
I've been a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've started painting again. I've
Wow.
always been painting, but I had just taken a break from it for a while. I didn't have the drive to do it, so I started painting again, reading again, just doing a little bit of everything. I traveled a good bit.
Where'd you go?
I went to St. Louis, worked there, worked in Chicago, went to Las Vegas.
Did they just stay open?
Who?
St. Louis?
St. Louis? I don't know if they ever shut down. I genuinely don't know. I know that Chicago shut down a week after I left.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they've reopened or not. I don't know. Vegas was shut down for a bit.
Yeah.
But they were obviously reopened once I went back.
Their mayor was, I don't know if it was the mayor of Vegas or if it was like the governor of Nevada, but like that junk was crazy. I think they were just talking about how like they're like, oh yeah, everything should be shut down, stuff like that. But then they wanted to like go out and do stuff, kind of like the whole the Nancy Pelosi scandal where she was like still getting her hair done and like the place was supposed to be closed or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I think the whole Vegas thing got handled kind of weird. But
everything's been getting handled weird.
Yeah.
All of it. That's why it's lasted so long. I feel like is that nothing is
True.
being handled correctly.
yeah, I think so. In my opinion, I think we needed a control group where it was like a community of people who were just like, okay, we'll just live in normal life. Mm-hmm. So if we just had some group of people who were just living basic normal life, just, somehow just doing business as usual and just monitor what happens. Just like, even if it was like a group of 20 or 50 or 100 people, just see what happens. Mm-hmm. I mean, you could say, well, nothing's going to happen because, none of them are going to get corona because they're not around anybody. But I don't know. I think we either should have been fully open or fully shut down and then open back up. You know?
It should have been one or the other. It's constantly dabbling between, oh, we're going to be open. Oh, we need to shut down again. Oh, let's like go back through it. And it's just a cycle, it feels like at this point. It's like, when is this going to end? When are we going to decide exactly what we're going to do and stick with it? And then, go back about our lives. But
so how did I guess the manager or the owner of Purple Diamond, like, how'd they keep up with y'all? Did they just say, when y'all were coming back and that was the only time you ever heard from them, or were they constantly like giving you updates?
My manager gives me updates. He's very communicative. So we were just he would call me, let me know what's going on, and then just tell me be back in touch when he has new information. So it wasn't consistent necessarily as in like weekly basis, but it was just whenever there was new information available.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's rough on all the businesses to be able to keep up with their workers. And I don't know if you heard about the news when people were getting those the checks of like the extra money, those waitresses and waiters were like, nah, I'm going to stay at home.
Yeah.
They were getting more money being at home.
Yeah, a lot of
than they
people were.
were
A lot of
come
people
back.
were getting more money from unemployment than they
Yeah.
were at their jobs. So it's just like, what's the point of going to work if I'm making more money just not having to do that? And I completely support that because we are not made to work so much
Yeah.
every single day. It's not natural. People need to be able to rest. Mental health is not prioritized, for
Yeah.
one, especially not in this country within
Yeah.
jobs. So I feel like if people can hustle that and they can get their money and stay at home, do it. Take care of yourself. I completely support that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think like mental health is something that I think a lot of people joke about, but is really serious. Like people don't realize how bad it can get to somebody. And I used to date a girl who like mentally she wasn't all there. And it was just hard to just communicate with her sometimes. Like just a simple eye contact was just impossible because her brain was just not fully there. And I was like, man, that's got to be rough because she was trying to explain to me like it just feels like her brain is in like this cage. It's like in a box where she can't do anything about it. You know, and I was like, what?
It's hard to understand to other people's mental issues that they're having or their traumas that they've experienced. And it sucks because, therapy is very important, but it feels like at the end of the day, the only person that can really fight it is ourselves. The only person
Yeah.
that can really like break through it is ourselves. And while help is definitely necessary, it takes a lot of inner work.
Yeah.
It takes a lot.
So when earlier you were mentioned like you could be somebody's therapist. Like, so I guess take me through an example of how, I guess you've helped somebody in that kind of way, as far as mental stimulation. Like somebody probably came to you and like, I'm having a bad day, and then you're dancing for them or something like that. Like, is there a lot of conversation, a lot of talking?
Oh, yeah. I have customers that will come in there and they buy the time rooms for me. And they don't even want me to dance on them. They just want me to sit next to them and talk to them or even just
Wow.
listen to them. And I love that. I love it. 'Cause I'm like, oh, I don't have to dance. Like, that's great. I love dancing. I love, whatever. But like lap dances, does anybody ever really want to do a lap dance? Probably not.
Yeah.
So being able to just sit there and talk to somebody or listen to them, I love doing that because I'm great at that. But I have people who come in there. Most of our customers are men. Not to anybody's surprise. And
Shocker.
yeah, big shocker. A lot of them will come in there and they'll talk about their jobs that they hate, or they'll talk about their wife or their ex-wife, or whatever they're going through at the moment. Talk about their children, or just literally anything and everything under the sun. And those customers I do like a lot because I know what they want to talk about. And it's easy to trail on a conversation with them. It's easy to listen to them and engage. But then there's customers who don't know what they want to talk about. Like, they want to come in there and they want to talk to us, but they don't really know what to discuss. So sometimes it's hard to like pick it from people. I'll be like, okay, what are your hobbies? They'll be like, I don't really do anything other than work. I'm like, oh, wow, you're so boring. I don't even know how to pull a conversation out right now.
Dang. So, age groups, is it just all over the place?
Well, I think it depends on the day of the week, honestly. So for the
I would
most
assume
part,
weekends is probably younger people.
yes, weekends is a lot
Yeah.
of younger people. During the week, it's mostly older, like businessmen,
Yeah.
truckers, just anybody. I feel like from the range from about 40 to probably like 65.
Oh, wow.
That's like the biggest age range. But I have customers who are older as well.
Yeah.
So.
Which one do you prefer?
Like age range wise?
Yeah.
I prefer them older.
Really? Are they more mature? They just know what's going on?
To me, there's not really a big maturity rank among most men in the club, so I don't even consider
All
that
right.
one. They all tend
Fair
to be
enough.
like about the same, so I just see it as like, who's more mature in their wallet? Probably older men. If we're being honest, we're thinking about the money. So older men typically are more willing to spend, and they're more willing to care for you.
Interesting.
So like young men, there's young men with money. There's
Yeah.
young men willing to spend. However, are they more likely to be long-term customers? Probably not.
Yeah, yeah.
So I just
Yeah,
don't
I
consider
would
that.
assume like an older guy, you're like his club girlfriend. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like his club
exactly.
wife.
Literally girlfriend because I have a customer that calls me his girlfriend all the time. I think he literally thinks that too, which is fine. That's if he wants to believe that I'm his girlfriend, that is all.
Sure, good
I
enough.
am his girlfriend. Perfect.
So when that comes along, like, are you just talking in the club and that's it? Like, do you ever carry on conversations like outside the club?
I will, only with people I have developed a level of trust with who have been regulars for a while.
Mm.
I will allow them to have my number and they'll call me every now and then or they'll send me money outside the club
Oh,
just
wow.
to talk to them. Or I have an Amazon wish list for customers to send me things, so that's really great. And yeah, it just depends on who it is, really. Especially if I'm working out of town as well, it's easier to just be in touch with people and to let them know when I am working as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
So I like to keep some people in the phone.
I guess that would make more sense, like people who are like outside of town, because you would need them to know, or like you would need them to either like have you on Instagram, have you on Facebook, or something like that, so that they'll know, like, hey, I'm in town. Like,
Exactly. Or like, hey, like I want you to book me a flight. I want to go here. So
yeah,
can we take care of that?
that's crazy. I didn't think about that. So like, if you are going to like a place that's out of town, how do you get in the venue? Do you just like ask? Is that basically it?
I think different clubs require different things. Some, I'll always call ahead first. I'll always call ahead and make sure. Some you can just pull up and they will take your information and they'll audition you. So you'll just, go dance on whatever little stage for about a 2-minute song and then they'll decide if they
So
want you.
so if you suck, they can just be like, nah.
Yeah, they can just be like, nah,
That's
sorry.
great. I didn't think.
And every club has their own standard as well. So like there's some clubs who prefer women to have fake bodies, which is cool, but I don't have a fake body. So I have to consider where I'm going. There's some clubs that prefer thick women, there's some that prefer skinny women. There's some that, prefer to have a very diverse group, which is great. Some don't like tattoos, some love them. So you have to really research the type of club that you're going to
Dang.
before you just pull up there because nobody wants to be rejected.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have to consider it's not you, it's the club and their preference.
Yeah.
So you have to consider that before going.
What is your ethnicity?
I am Irish and Syrian on my mom's side.
I was like, you don't look white,
Yeah,
Caucasian.
everybody says that to me. I still claim being white, obviously, because I'm not fully one or the other, and I can't speak Arabic, so I'm just like, I'm just white.
Okay.
Just white.
So does that play in your favor?
Unfortunately, sometimes it does.
Okay.
So in ways like in the club, I do get clientele because they see that I have like more broader features. So they're like, oh, like you look like more ethnic. Like
You're
what
exotic.
are you? Yeah, I'm exotic to them. So they're like, oh, you must be. They either think I'm Italian, Hispanic, or they think I'm Mediterranean. And sometimes that's cool. That's great. And then other times it's like men want me to be more white, so I have to.
Oh,
I
wow.
just fake what I am.
That's
I
crazy.
play into whatever fantasy it is, and it sucks because sometimes our customers are not the nicest, or sometimes they're just
Yeah.
kind of racist. But I'll play it into it, and my take back from it is I get their money. So
Yeah.
It
So I
doesn't
mean
matter.
that has to affect like so do you do research on the areas? So I would assume, well, I don't know. So like Miami, they're known for like Cuban people. Like they just have like a ton of like Hispanic talking people in the Miami area. So do you feel like you wouldn't thrive there because of that, or you would thrive because you're different?
I think I could thrive just about anywhere because I'm different, but at the same time, when it comes to certain communities, it's like I don't really want to go to certain communities until I can speak the language. For me, because like I said, like I like to research and I like to know what I'm doing when I go in and be
Yeah.
fully prepared. So for me, I'm currently working on, learning other languages. So that way I can just be like the coolest stripper ever and know like 5 languages and be able to talk to everybody.
What are you learning?
I'm currently working on Spanish, and then I'm going to work back to French and then up from there. So
Oh, okay.
I would love to be able to speak Arabic one day because, that's my family's native tongue. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, my family's been very whitewashed, so I was not taught Arabic.
Are they here?
My mother is.
Who's
But
your mom?
it was her grandfather that came over from Syria.
Okay.
Came over from Damascus, so we're a little bit watered down. But he did not teach his children to fully speak Arabic, just a little bit. So my mom wasn't taught, I wasn't taught. So we're just kind of learning on our own.
Have you ever been over there?
No, I haven't. I wish I could. I would love to go to Syria, but it's actually not the safest place to go to. Especially right now. Especially for me being a young woman and being like conventionally attractive, it's not safe to go there.
Is that one of the countries where like they usually do like the full like head wraps and stuff like that for women?
Yes.
Okay. So do you like have to do that? Like is that like a countrywide thing, or if you're American, you just don't know, they're just like, hey, you gotta wrap up or something. Like, I don't know.
I don't know the exact laws, but I do believe that you have to. And if you don't, it can be really dangerous. I remember one of my teachers in middle school, she told me about how she went to Egypt with her husband and she wore shorts and she didn't cover them and people started throwing rocks at her.
Oh,
so
snap.
It's Middle Eastern countries are very aggressive, especially with their, morals and religion. It's just like, they're very like, you do this, and if you don't, we're going to visibly show you that we have a problem with it.
That's wild. So, I mean, I'm sure you're grateful that that your family came over here.
I am very grateful. My family came over here for better opportunities, and they found that.
Yeah. Not to compare you, but that reminds me of Mia Khalifa because she, I don't know where, Pakistani. I'm not sure where.
I'm not for sure exactly what her ethnicity is.
I can't remember, but yeah,
I do know she's Middle Eastern.
Yeah, she came from the Middle East. I don't know if did her parents come here too?
I don't know. I haven't actually done my research fully on Mia Khalifa.
For those of you who don't know who Mia Khalifa is, so she was a
very hot porn star.
Yeah, very famous porn star, like #1 at some point.
You know what's crazy? She didn't even do porn for that long. I think
Really?
It was, okay, I could be wrong, so y'all would have to fact check me on this, but I think she only did it for like 9 months.
Really?
And she became #1. Like, she's still top on the charts, and she doesn't even do porn anymore. Dang. She hasn't done porn for years. She has
Talk about leaving your mark.
Right. She did as much as she could, and she was like, I'm outie. I got my bag. She's probably still getting a bag.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But so, yeah, she, her family's from, like, the Middle East, and, she started doing porn in America. Like, she came to America, started doing porn, and, like, her whole country, like, exed her from the country. Like, I don't even know if she's allowed to go back there.
Probably not.
And that's insane. Like, you literally came to another country to be successful. You became successful, and your country was like, nah, we disowned.
Man, if my grandparents were still alive and they knew what I did, they'd probably ex me too.
Really?
Honestly, yeah, probably.
Oh man,
probably.
So why do you think that is? I mean, obviously I know why, but like why? You know what I mean?
People are just very stuck in their ways of thought, I feel like, and what is tradition to them is held very closely to heart. So anything that defies that tradition is going to be looked down upon.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. Do you think that okay, first of all, do you think it's changing in America? And second of all, when you see that change, like, how do you capitalize on that?
I think it is changing in America for sure, just because of our boost and how big sex work is becoming now. But at the same time, the underlying like thoughts of taboo is still there, because obviously I can still profit off of it.
Yeah.
I can still. People think that sex workers, they kind of commit to this ongoing problem of women being over-sexualized. But women are over-sexualized no matter what.
Facts.
Like, I will literally be walking my dog, and I'm in sweatpants, sweatshirt, completely covered head to toe, and somebody's still going to yell out the window at me.
Yeah,
they can't see anything. They just see, like, a walking woman, and they're like,
oh,
yes, delicious. So it doesn't matter anything what we do.
Yeah.
So it is still a taboo thing.
Yeah.
Because I think it really just goes back to the part that people are not comfortable in their own bodies. I think that's really what it comes down to, is that we are taught to constantly be covered and to hide and not to be proud of ourselves. And I think that's just really the underlying problem. Because when people see sex workers and they're like, wow, like these people are literally just on the internet fully naked, do not care. Like, and people want to say that's degrading, but to me, that is just so powerful that I can be comfortable in my body and I don't care who's looking at it.
Yeah.
I'm making money off of it. Like, that is so cool. I can just make money off of the way that I look.
Yeah.
And to me, that is beyond empowering. But to people who are not comfortable with themselves, they label it as degrading.
Yeah.
So it really just, that's just is all it goes down to me. Is people are not comfortable with themselves.
I think that's 100% true because, you know, if somebody's doing something that you wish you could do, 9 times out of 10, they end up hating on them. It's because they're upset that person is doing something that they wish they could be doing. So they want to bring them down and be like, hey, you think you're better than me? Like,
Yeah.
like come back to my level. You can't be successful. Like, you can't do that thing that I wish I was doing. So I don't know. I feel like, I think it's always, like, as I said, when I was texting you last night, I was like, sex work is the oldest profession. So
Oh, it is. Oh, it is.
as long as humans have been alive, we haven't changed. We still view that as something, as you said, taboo. Like, so I don't think it's ever going to change. Just like racism. Like, people are like, oh, I can't wait till racism is over.
It
It's
won't
never going to be over.
It won't. I hate to say that, but it really won't.
Yeah. So sex workers, I think, will always be looked down upon. But I do think the avenues are opening up. Like, people always look at OnlyFans as just like basically just porn stars and strippers and stuff like that. Like, yeah, there's a lot of them, but you know, as Tori just opened hers up and she's like putting out music videos and stuff like that on there. That's a great way to get her name out there.
Yeah, OnlyFans is a platform for everybody, really. Sex
Yeah.
workers just happen to take it over. That's what really happens with sex workers is that we tend to just like be the carriers of most platforms. You know,
Truly, yeah.
And it's just crazy to me because a lot of these platforms as well, even OnlyFans, they take so much money from us and they really aren't the best at just making sure that we're good. They tend to take a lot. But there is another platform I've been considering switching to, which is ManyVids, which was made by a sex worker for sex workers.
Don't know what that is. Explain it.
Yeah, ManyVids is a clip site, and it's a lot bigger now than it used to be. Like, they have like a little store on there. They have group chats. They do contests like every week for the sex workers. It's just very good for the community. And that's a site that I've considered getting into, but OnlyFans was my first one to step onto, which has been very profitable for me.
Yeah.
But, you know, I feel like I'm not the type who wants to put all of their eggs in one basket, so I'm going to search outwards. But I do want to be a part of a site that is more sex worker friendly. Because while OnlyFans is being carried by us, they don't really take care of us in the best way.
Yeah.
So I wanted to look outwards and see what other sites there are that are fully catering to us.
Yeah. There was a big scandal going on with Instagram because it seemed as if Instagram was pretty upset that all these companies were paying these influencers and Instagram was getting no advertisement money. I mean, yeah, they were getting probably billions, but a lot of the portion of the money was going to these influencers instead of Instagram. So I believe that's when they switched up their algorithms and all this stuff.
Started being way more strict.
Yeah, and yeah, I see. Gosh, what is it? There was like some porn star was like so upset because, like, as I was talking about, like the chicks who aren't in sex work but like post a lot of photos like half naked. They're like, why does my stuff get flagged but their stuff is just fine?
Yeah, that's so ironic to me. That's just how it is. Like, these big celebrities will make OnlyFans accounts and then none of their stuff gets flagged. They can post half naked pictures and making out with other people on their Instagram and it doesn't get flagged. But for me, for people who follow me, they notice that I have almost 2 of each account. I have 2 Instagrams, 2 Twitters. I've had to remake my Snapchat a few times.
Because it keeps getting flagged?
It keeps getting flagged or deleted completely.
Dang.
And my what I call my stripper Instagram, my Nadia Cole specific Instagram, I have to be so careful in that one because I will literally just hardly post anything and they'll take it down ASAP. And I've already had like 4 posts taken down in the past 2 months and they'll go back and take down posts that I posted 6 months ago.
Oh my God.
So it's like, I don't know if people are like reporting it or if Instagram just really has it out for me.
Yeah.
But they definitely just keep taking my content down. So I'm very careful of my Soul Poppy account because that one's my baby out of all of my accounts. Out of all the accounts I have, all my social medias, my Soul Poppy Instagram is my favorite. But I've had my Twitter deleted before, but not because of sex work, because I think I like reposted a music video and it had like copyright issues. So they deleted my Twitter, but I disputed it
They
and got it
deleted
back.
your whole Twitter because of that?
I had it for 9 years, but I got it back.
Oh my
It took
God.
4 months for me to get it back from emailing them. And then my Snapchat got deleted because I believe they changed some rules and you could no longer put your OnlyFans link, which is, like we said, OnlyFans is not just for sex workers, but if you put an OnlyFans link on your Snapchat, it will get deleted. So I lost all of my memories, all my pictures. They told me that I couldn't ask for it back. It was completely gone. They wouldn't even tell me why, but I knew it was because of the link.
Holy smokes.
So now I made a link tree, and with a link tree, you can put all your other links. So that's what I'm using currently. So I hope they don't delete it.
Oh, that's pretty sneaky.
Yeah, I had to make a totally new Snapchat. I had a good following on that last one too because, like I said, I'm on the Diamond socials, and they'll tag me on their Snapchat, and their Snapchat has like thousands of viewers, so I would get a lot of followers.
Yeah.
Lost them all, had to restart. So that sucked for my OnlyFans for a little bit because, that's my marketing. That's clientele.
So let's talk about Snapchat. So when Snapchat, I'm not going to say when it first came out. I'm always usually late to stuff. Mm-hmm. But I had a Snapchat, when I was single and I was younger, but I didn't really use it. Like at first I used it a lot. I used it a ton. And then I think I only used it for probably like maybe a year and a half, maybe 2 years or something like that. Then I was like, nah, I'm good. And then I basically just switched to Instagram. Like I use Facebook to communicate in certain ways with like some people, but like my main thing is Instagram. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why. Like I use my Twitter mainly for like sports. Like I love just looking at information on Twitter. I mean that's really the first purpose was for Twitter is to like fast information.
That's what Twitter is for me. Like Twitter is for the funny stuff and the fast info. That is my news outlet is Twitter.
Yeah, I mean like if I needed to know anything about sports or anything, I would just go to Twitter. I had like a Bleacher Report is really good for sports.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and ESPN, like that app. And so I was using those, and then I had a Twitter, and I started like getting all the information about like I'm a big Alabama football fan, so I was getting all the info about. I was like, why do I even have Bleacher Report or ESPN?
Right,
I can just use Twitter.
Everything fast on Twitter.
Because there's like news journalists and stuff like that on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
So I could just follow all these journalists and stuff like that. And I was like, that's the info straight through there. Mm-hmm. So I don't know about communicating with people. So I have communicated with a good bit of people through Twitter. But I don't know, just Instagram's my thing right now.
Instagram is my thing too, and I think it's just because I love photography and pictures so much, so it's a fun outlet. Snapchat, it's probably my least favorite. I don't like talking to people on it. It's only maybe 2 people at most I'll speak to or like send pictures to or whatever, but all I do is I post on my story and I go. But with Instagram, I'm always engaging with people, always posting on my stories. That's where I'm the most active. And then from Instagram, I share my Instagram stuff to Facebook, so that makes it easier to post. Facebook is like my community watch page is what I call it. Like that's where I find out about local Memphis stuff going on, things that are coming to town. And then Twitter is like my worldwide one. Twitter, I find anything and everything. And Twitter, I've noticed, is most sex worker friendly.
You can post nude on Twitter. I
see so much porn on my TL every single day.
And it really just depends on like who you follow. So when I first had my Twitter, I'm following a bunch of people who just like are big Alabama football fans. Mm-hmm. And then like I just noticed like there was like porn and stuff. I was like,
it's what other people retweet.
Yeah, I was like, I don't follow anything like this. And then I looked to see who retweeted it, and I was like, oh, is that dude that? I was like, oh, that makes sense now. So, it's crazy. I think I was talking to Rachel about because somebody told her, here's another one, Tumblr. Somebody told her that Tumblr was just like basically porn. I was like, no,
it used to be.
I was like, it is what you follow. It is what you follow. So if you follow that kind of stuff, that's what you're going to see. So it just depends.
Yeah, speaking of Tumblr used to be a great place for sex workers, and then they took literally everything off. Like, they completely banned sex workers, so that's why a lot of sex workers moved to Twitter,
They
because,
banned them?
yeah, Tumblr used to be great, but no longer.
So it was mainly like blogging, right?
It was blogging,
Okay.
but they were sex worker friendly until, they just decided not to be. And I
That's
think that had to
wild.
do with, like, certain legislations happening, but per usual, a lot of sites, as soon as they feel like something's going to pass, they're going to immediately just go ahead and rid of everything that they can.
So I think Instagram. I have a friend that always talks about like new policies and stuff like that are coming through. But he was talking about Instagram's new policy that they're passing. But I think they're constantly changing things to. I think it's to fit certain people's agendas.
Oh, yeah.
They're
Everything is
pretty
an agenda
sneaky.
everywhere for everything. So
Yeah.
I believe that.
I mean, I get it. Like, you want your money, but like Facebook owns Instagram. So whatever Zuckerberg is doing is affecting everybody.
Yeah. Man, Zuckerberg.
Like, a lot of people have a love-hate relationship with what the two platforms are doing. So Facebook is cool because of like, the people you should know. Like, you find so many people because people are connected. So that's
Yeah.
awesome. Which Instagram has implemented that. So you'll be on Instagram and it'll show you like people that are in your contacts. It'll show you people who are following other people, which I love that. I love being able to see like who follows who on Instagram. Like, if I go to your page, it'll show like the people that I follow that are also following you.
I love that too. It makes
Yeah.
it easier to connect because I'm like, oh, like we have this many people in common that we know, so there must be like something that we can base our relationship off of. Like, there has to be a common factor there between the two of us, just because we have so many people connected.
Yeah.
And I like that.
So thinking about that, how aggressive can you be online, like trying to get clientele? Like, I know you can promote yourself, but like, so a running joke among musicians is, especially like rappers, is they'll like send their music to people and be like, yo, check out my new
hate
video.
that. Okay, I'm telling y'all right now, if y'all do that to me, I ignore it. Unless I know you personally and you're sending me your music, I will literally ignore
Yeah.
it because it just drives me nuts. I feel like that's the worst marketing ever.
Yeah.
And people think it's not
Just
because they're
spamming
like,
people.
oh, yeah, I feel like it's a spam. I don't
Yeah.
feel like that's marketing. I feel like you're just annoying the shit out of people.
Yeah.
But when it comes to being aggressive, I don't even think I'm that aggressive at all.
But how aggressive can you be? You know what I mean?
Man, okay, so I've heard of some crazy shit that other people have done, in which I would never recommend anybody doing. I think it's absolutely terrible. But some girls are very aggressive. Like, there is OnlyFans girls that will subscribe to other girls' OnlyFans and comment back to their customers underneath the pictures and send their OnlyFans link.
Oh,
Isn't that
my.
so wrong? Or they'll comment under another girl's like viral tweet or viral picture and like put their links. I'm just like, that is so wrong to me.
Oh,
That is so
man.
wrong. Or just they'll go through other girls' accounts and follow all of their customers and their
Yeah.
clientele, and then once they get the following, they'll unfollow them all. It's just they're cheating hardcore. They're cheating. It's dirty. It's gonna come
Yeah.
back to you. I wouldn't agree with that, but there is an aggression to it.
That's
People
wild.
get aggressive.
So when you find somebody else who's like, I guess like in your lane, and you can, I guess, reach out to that person and like talk to them, how does that communication work? Like, if you see somebody else who, I guess, do you find a lot of people in this area, or do you end up just finding people who are like in other places? Because with Instagram, like, if you hit that search button, I mean, not like searching people, but what do they call it? Like when you just hit the magnifying glass, and you
Oh, are you
scroll
talking
up.
about the popular page?
It's
Or
not even
explore page?
Explore. There
Yeah,
we go.
that's what it is.
So like, do you end up following more people who are just like, who would pop up on an explore page, or do you follow people who you would actually probably know or probably see?
I follow people that I have a common connection with, like other people that I know might follow, like suggested.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes I'll follow people through the explore page if I'm just really, like what I'm seeing.
Mhm.
But for the most part, I don't really go on the explore page that often. But Are you saying, like, as far as, like, other sex workers or other, like, creators
Yeah,
connecting?
like sex workers.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll usually just follow people through, other connected people that I follow, especially on Twitter. It's so easy to follow other sex workers. We have a really good community on there.
Mm,
Instagram, it's a little bit more difficult, but in the area, it is kind of difficult here,
yeah,
especially in Memphis, because there's plenty of like cam girls here and girls who just do all types of sex work, which sex work is just an umbrella term for,
yeah.
strippers, cam girls, full service, phone sex operators, literally everything. And they're all here. I just feel like it's hard to connect with them sometimes.
Why do you think that?
I really honestly don't know. I haven't really cracked it yet. I think maybe because it's such a tight-knit community that a lot of girls that I know in the clubs, they're not even out to their families.
Mm,
So I think it's really just a secretive thing.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it makes it harder to connect. But when
Mm,
I go out of town, it's so easy. Like when I go to St. Louis or Vegas, other places, it's so easy to find other sex workers because it's more welcome there. But I think because Memphis is smaller, we're technically in the Bible Belt,
yeah, yeah.
such a small, tight-knit community, a lot of women just keep it to themselves.
Mm.
So there's just a few people that I've been able to kind of just like, get in touch with or like make content with or travel with, but it's not a lot.
So how do you, I guess, approach somebody who doesn't like their family doesn't know and stuff like that, or they don't tell any of their friends or anything like that?
Usually I only meet those types of sex workers in the club.
Oh,
Usually
okay.
it's just because we're in close proximity and that's how I meet them. But otherwise, I wouldn't know because even a lot of strippers don't post it on their pages that they're strippers
Mm,
around here, I've noticed. So probably like me and a few other girls I know are really open about it,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it's really not that many. It's like we know, and a few, like plenty of other people probably know that they're strippers, but they
yeah.
don't openly like post it.
So what about like your high school friends and stuff like that?
Oh man. I wouldn't say I really have any I probably have like 3 or 4 friends from high school
Yeah.
left really, but there's been a lot of people that have come into the club and seen me and been like, is that who I think it is? Just like look at side eye me a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
bit and I'll just like give them like a little wink, like, yes, me. But there's plenty of people from my past that will just pop up in the club. And I think that's why a lot of girls too are just very weary of one about dancing here and two
Mm,
about being open about it because it's so easy
yeah,
for people to just walk in and see you.
yeah.
You
I mean,
know?
do you feel like people are more uptight than they should be? Do you feel like they should just yo relax, like you're okay? It's not like you're selling drugs or something like that.
Yeah.
Do you think people are? Yeah, I guess that's just uptight, too uptight.
Too uptight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. I mean, it's got to be rough. I mean, because as you said, like family will like disown you, and
I think it all depends on personal situations as well because some people might still be living with their families or using sex work as a means to get out of where they're at. And
I
so they
couldn't
kind of have to
imagine
keep it
living
secretive.
with my family.
Oh man, especially for the really young sex workers, like strippers that start when they're 18,
Mm,
or even girls that get onto the online world as soon as they're legally able to. And a lot
yeah.
of times they do that because they're trying to get out of a situation.
Mm,
And not saying that all sex workers do that or that's why all people got into sex work because I feel like there's this misconception that abuse mostly is what leads sex workers into the industry. And while
mm,
yes, that does happen, that has happened to plenty of us, but that's not always the reason. Like I know women who grew up in perfectly happy families in great towns and cities, great home, and they just decided they wanted to be sex workers one day,
mm.
But I've seen it go both ways. I've met plenty of girls who have pimps and they have to work. Or I've met plenty of girls that just do it because they want to. They don't
Yeah.
have to. It's all over the place.
Who do you think does better?
As far as making money or...
Yeah, like as far as their like past history, like people who have had like a broken home, so they just feel motivated to go out there and do stuff, or people who just I had a great life, but I just feel like doing sex work.
I think it really just depends on the person, but for the most part, I've noticed that the most drive comes from the women that didn't have a lot. and that had to get it for themselves. I see that that's where the most drive comes from, because I know plenty of girls that were very privileged outside of the club and they make good money, but the drive isn't really there. Like, they'll work, but I don't see them really going for what they want or having like a quota in mind.
Yeah.
When there's plenty of strippers I know who came from not a whole lot, or they lost something and they want to work hard. And you can see that. You can see the drive in them because they're always at work on time, or they're early. They're always working as much as they can. And they are the top sellers in the club. Because you pay attention. You see who's going to the back. You see who's selling dances. You see who's making the most money on stage. And you see who's sitting there talking and who has the most regulars. Like, you know. And that's also what I find inspiring, because I'm like, you are a hustler. You are the true definition of a hustler, and I like that.
Yeah. Do any of the girls feel, I guess, pressure to do better if there's like somebody new that comes in? Or is it just like, oh, she just so happens to be new and she's good?
I think that there is a little bit of pressure there, especially if it's someone from out of town, like a bigger city, and they might have work done, or you can just tell that they've been in the industry for a while and they're automatically selling. Like, there's going to be some pressure there, just like when celebrities come to the club. It's like, oh, like, you know how I said women view it as competition. If they see someone coming in and they're making the money, they're like, okay, well, I need to, like, get on my feet a little bit more. Gotta step it up.
Have you ever seen somebody, like, famous come in?
We've had one famous guest since I've been there, and I can't remember her name. Sassy Cassie, that's her name.
Okay.
And she's a midget stripper.
Oh, wow.
And she was amazing. She's so sweet. She came in with her dog and her partner, and she came in there and made a lot of money on stage. I don't think she was selling dances. I think she only did stage, but she was great. Threw out posters like it was a Grizz game. It was great. It was a great time. But I haven't seen any, like, big porn stars or anything come to the club. I think the other local clubs have had that, but not since I've been at the Diamond. I don't think I've seen that.
Do you like that?
Like, people coming to visit?
Yeah.
I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Will I necessarily want to work that night? Probably not. But I'm still here for it. It's cool. To me, it's like, most of us don't want to work nights if there's a big game going on. Because if there's a big game on TV, like Super Bowl night, not working that night, because it's not going to be nobody in there. Nobody wants to come and watch the Super Bowl on the TVs at the club. They want to watch it at home.
Yeah.
And other certain holidays, like, I won't work on. It really depends.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you have to, like, strategically place your nights and stuff like that, because if you don't, then it's just going to mess up, I guess, like, your flow or however you want to set things up. Because, I mean, you could, like, that could be your specialty, like, always work on these holidays or something like that.
There's some girls that do that. There's girls that work every Thanksgiving, every Christmas, every Valentine's Day. And those are the moneymakers. Those big holidays are the moneymakers, because there's only going to be, like, probably 5 to 10 girls working in the club, especially our club because it's really small. But there's not going to be as many girls because most of them are going to be with their family or they don't care to work it. And that's when you make the money.
Interesting.
More clientele, less girls.
Yeah, that ratio.
Very good ratio.
So what's your, I guess, specialty as far as, like, the times that you like to work?
I like getting there before night shift. Like, I work night shift, but I like to get there about an hour before, just so that I can scan the floor and see what's going on and just be there and get the first, like, stage sets. So that way, once I get the first stage sets, I know I'm going to be in rotation a good bit. So I like working weekdays as well. I always work weekends, but weekdays are my favorite.
So you get them older guys.
That's what I'm saying. I've been paying attention.
Yeah. I mean, it's really just like any other profession, anything where you have to actually, put in the grind, like put in the work for how you get your clientele. Like, so Rachel's a personal trainer, and I'm always telling her, like, it's great having her just, like, be at home and not have to, work with clients all day, not having to constantly be working, because she can, like, get other stuff done. Like, if I needed something from Home Depot, she can just go run and get it and she's not with clients 8 hours or 10 hours a day.
Right.
So that's very convenient. But at the same time, if she had a more busier mindset, a more like grinding type mindset where she was like, no, I have to work 12 hours a day and like train people for 12 hours a day, then, that's a positive because you're probably going to be making a lot more money. But at the same time, you're still working 12 hours a day.
Yeah, you're working 12 hours a day. Where's the time for yourself? And
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that a lot of sex workers don't realize that we have the privilege of, which a lot of sex workers, that's why they did it. Like I said, I wanted freedom. When I say that I went into sex work, it's not just for money. It was for freedom. And money brings freedom.
Is it the only thing you do?
What, sex work?
Yeah.
I mean, I sell my art as well.
Oh, okay.
I'll make paintings, sell that. So I make juice every now and then. I'll sell that. I do a little bit of everything. Juice.
What?
Yes.
What do you make?
Just like a little bit of everything. It's mostly in the summertime when I'm growing my own ingredients, like my mint and whatnot. And I'll just do different types of like healthy juices, like orange, pineapple. That's my biggest selling one. Is my orange, pineapple, mint, and ginger. Everybody loves that one.
Really?
I don't know what it is. It's just so tasty. But
That's dope. I have to get some.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rachel's all into that kind of stuff because, like, so she actually started painting recently because I bought her some stuff.
I love
Like,
that.
She actually talked about it a long time ago, and I was like, no, I'm not buying you any paint stuff because you're never going to use it.
Yeah.
But when I actually bought it for her, she started using it, and she like
love
posted
that.
it. She posted it, and God, I want to say it was maybe within the first week that I bought it for her. She had painted something, posted it, and somebody asked her to paint their house. Yeah, and so she sold her first work within like the first 2 weeks of
That's
doing
baller.
stuff. Yeah, and I was like,
You're like, damn.
I felt dumb, but at the same time, I was like, Rachel, you could have been doing this whole time. So I don't know. Like it's plus the pandemic. People have been figuring out new things. They've been figuring out, oh, I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. Because she was at Lifetime Fitness, and when Lifetime shut down, they shut down back in March. Like all the trainers. I would say, I don't know, maybe like a few of the trainers stayed, but most of the trainers just quit. And they were just like, I can start my own personal training business. I don't need the gym. And so Rachel still has like a few of her clients, and it's very beneficial to her. And that's why I was asking earlier about, what you were doing because in that transition, because I would assume like, yeah, you start your OnlyFans. Did you say you had it before? All this
I
started?
actually started my OnlyFans last December, so I just hit a year of having it, which is crazy. But I started it last December, right before I went on my trip to Hawaii, because that was my birthday trip to myself.
Oh,
I was
okay.
like, I'm going to go to Hawaii, but I want to be able to like be making money while I'm there. So
Did you go by yourself?
Yeah, I went by myself.
Oh, wow.
And so I was posting on my OnlyFans, selling stuff through there, just kind of like paying for stuff while I was on the trip. So that was cool. And then literally in March, the club shut down. I was like, oh, thank you, universe. I did not put all of my eggs in my basket. Like I intuitively knew to start an OnlyFans before that. So I was very thankful. And I've been doing just like a little bit of everything. Like I also am every now and then I do like phone sex for my customers. I offer that. And I have a customer that calls me for literally just a minute. Easy money.
Wow.
And then next week we'll probably do the same thing, And then I have, I'm grateful enough to have like a really kind sugar daddy that'll send me things, or every now and then he's paid my rent or paid for a few bills of mine. So that has been really great.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I'd like 3 more sugar daddies. But it's I don't know. I feel like it would be a lot of work to have that many.
So how do you find somebody like that? Is that a club thing? Or is that
That's
just like
a
an
manifestation thing. That's what I'm gonna say about that one. He found me actually.
Really?
But in my head before that, I was just like, like I think this is what I want. I would love to have a sugar daddy, like somebody that could take care of me, take care of my bills for me. That way I can, save my money. If I want to go to school, like I want somebody to pay for my schooling.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a, avenue I haven't jumped into yet.
Yeah.
So it's something I want in my life. A month later, he shows up.
Dang.
And he's the sweetest angel ever. I adore him.
So is that stereotype really true about like a lot of strippers are there like trying to pay for school and whatnot?
There are a lot of strippers that I know that are in school that do it to pay for school, and then there's others that are using it to pay for school, but that's not the only reason they're doing it. They're doing it because they want to. You know?
Yeah.
So it just depends. I know people who have other jobs. Like there's women who are in other industries. Like they'll come to the club and then they'll go to their night job, or they'll work at the club only on the weekends and have their other job during the week. So. Everybody does something different, it seems like. Like, there's strippers who are just strippers. There's strippers who do camming and just a little bit of everything like I do. And then there's people with normal vanilla jobs, as we like to call them.
So, what's an example of somebody who does something that is, like, completely different from stripping? Well, I guess, a lot of stuff is completely different from stripping.
I know people in the medical field that are stripping.
Like nurses and stuff?
Yeah.
Dang, that's tough.
Which is another reason why some strippers have to be like quiet about what they do, because they could lose their real jobs if
you
they were to
lose your job for that?
Oh yeah. So I don't know if you knew about recently, but there was a cam girl who was interviewed by I think it was like a New York Post or something. It was like one of the New York papers, and he interviewed her. And then he ended up doxing her, like giving her full name, saying what she did, and she was a nurse. I don't know yet if she got fired or not, but he put her whole livelihood at stake.
What?
Because they could lose literally everything if they find out we're sex workers. You could lose your normal job. I have a friend that
Why is that a thing?
I don't know. I have a friend that literally works at Hooters, okay? Works at Hooters, and she told me that if the management said that they found out that any of them had an OnlyFans, they were getting fired. Like, this is Hooters.
What do you think people are coming here for?
Yeah, like,
I don't... God.
Like, y'all are already, like, over-sexualizing your women. That's how y'all are making your money. It's because of your servers being sexy. So they're not allowed to be sexy anywhere else? That's not fair.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's crazy. Teachers, obviously, can't be sex workers, or they can't get caught being sex workers because they're going to think that they're going to come for the children or something. They just automatically put that with pedophilia, which is crazy to me.
That is weird.
Yeah.
I mean, usually they associate pedophilia with men.
Yeah.
I would probably say men do most of the
For the most part. There are, female pedophiles, of course.
Yeah.
But just because somebody's a sex worker doesn't mean that makes them a pedophile.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, along that lines, they confuse sex trafficking with sex work. They think it's the same thing, and it's not. Yeah. It's a huge difference.
God, what was I about to ask you? So for the sex work, when people do, so we were talking about people from like high school, I'm assuming you've had an encounter with a guy who either you did or did not talk to in school, or a female you did or did not talk to in high school, and they find out you do strip or you do sex work. How is that encounter usually?
I have a funny story. Okay, so there's this one girl that works with me that I went to high school with. She's just a year younger than me. And we both dated the same person. I dated him first. He was like my first boyfriend ever. And then she like dated him later. And he started coming into the club. I think they were like still friends or something. And he would come into the club and literally just stare at me because he found out that I was working there. And one day I was on our satellite stage, which is our smaller stage. And I was like dancing on the bar. And he just walks by and he looks at me. He goes, "That's awesome." He walks away. I was like, ugh. Man, I hate it here sometimes. And like all his little friends would come in with him. I think I've had like a couple other maybe like ex-boyfriends come in there, or like ex-friends, quote unquote. But
so are they actually trying to like reconnect, like friendly wise, or
they're just trying to look? People are nosy.
Really?
They just want to watch. They just want to see me.
That's sad.
Which it's really sad. I've actually had people that like the restaurant I told you about that I worked at before then, like their close family friends would come in there, or like my regulars from that job would come into the club, and they'd be like, "So-and-so? Like, is that you?"
Yeah.
I even had, when I was younger, at the second house we ever lived in, I lived in a neighborhood full of kids, mostly boys. And my across the street neighbor, he was a year older than me. maybe a year ago. I'm just like minding my business, walking from the stage to the back to go count my money, and I hear somebody yell out my government name. And I was like, oh, hell no. Like, who in here is yelling that? And it's him. He's literally so drunk, can't even, like, comprehend what's going on. He's like, is that you? Like,
Oh,
you're a
man.
stripper? He was like, why are you doing this? I was like, why are you in a strip club? He literally had nothing to say to it.
I'm not.
I'm not in a strip club. That's literally always my thing. I say back to, like, why are you a stripper? Why are you doing this to yourself? I'm like, why are you in a strip club? Why are you spending your money on a stripper?
Earlier, I thought you were going to say about the chick who was the nurse or whatever. I thought you were going to say, like, the boss or somebody was like, oh, that's, oh. Because they recognize.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
And that would be so bad.
Yeah. Because, I mean, what do you do? Like, if you're, like, I don't know, the owner of a company and the girl just is a stripper, she's not on the internet, and
Well,
you know who she is.
I feel like, I'm sure if it's the owner, they could be spiteful and, like, decide to, like, fire somebody. But at the same time, if I saw a boss of mine in there that's from, outside the club, I'm taking pictures, okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to have my backup in case you try to fire me. I'm going to blackmail you. Okay? I'll play dirty if somebody else wants to play dirty.
That would be wild.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, but I guess otherwise you're just screwed. Like I said, when I used to watch YouTube videos about other dancers, I remember, I think it was Nina's, she talked about how she was working in LA and her dad didn't know that she was a stripper and he came into the club.
Oh, snap.
And she was trying to hide from him, but he saw her.
Yeah.
It just like was a whole big thing. So
what happened?
I don't remember exactly what happened. It's been forever since I watched the video, but I remember she originally started out as like a cocktail waitress and then she decided she wanted to dance. And so I think her family thought that she was just a cocktail waitress. And then he comes in and like sees her half naked and he's just like, oh shit.
That's crazy. I mean, what do you do, Like,
man, I don't know what I would do. Luckily, my whole family knows. So it's like I don't have to worry about tiptoeing anymore. For a little while I was. But at the same time, I'm just the person like, fuck it. Like, I'm doing this. Y'all aren't paying my bills. I am. I don't have a big, close family like that at all. So I don't have to worry about, being... I guess I have been uninvited to things. I was uninvited to my aunt's Thanksgiving for being a stripper a few years ago. Yeah, so we don't talk anymore. But other than that incident, yeah, my mom and my sister and them are cool with it. My dad just like accepts it. So
yeah, I mean, even in like different aspects of life. So I was talking to Tori about her and her family's relationship, about her being gay and everything, and I was like, man, like, what do you do? Like, you love your family, but if they're going to treat you a certain way just because of who you are, then that's kind of lame.
Oh, I cut off, okay? I'm like, blood or whatever, I'm going to cut you off.
Yeah.
Like, if I just went through that for so long where my family affected my mental health, and I'm just at a point in my life where nothing that affects my mental health in a negative way can be around me.
Yeah.
So it's just like, oh, you don't accept that? Sorry, like that is your problem. It's not mine.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be near me, and that's just it.
I mean, it's the world can be a nasty place when it comes to, as you were talking about, just tradition, like the South in general. Like, I mean, for somebody like you, so you're not only foreign, but you're in an industry to where, you can profit off of who you are, or it's going to hurt you. And you can just kind of pick where you want to live, and just, you're going to have to figure it out.
Just figure it out.
There's no set plan like, oh, if I move here, I'll be good. You know what I mean? Like, you just have to assume that.
Yeah, you'll just have to assume that, you'll find it, unless you travel a good bit to the city first and you find a good club that works for you and you're like, oh, I want that to be my home club. But if you're just kind of pulling up, you're like, I'm going to live here. You just got to figure it out. Some girls try a bunch of different clubs, or they just go to online sex work, or they find a sugar daddy in the city. You just figure it out, I guess.
So if you could do one aspect of what you do, which one would you pick?
Man, if I could just do one. I love stripping. I love dancing. I love being on stage. Like, that's my thing. But if I could just do one thing, I would have like 3 sugar daddies and have everything paid for and not do
I would
anything.
assume that would be the way.
Okay, let me say like I would have 2 Splenda daddies and 1 sugar daddy. I can't give out 3 sugars. That's too much.
That's hilarious. So we were talking about you moving places. So if you went to a place like Vegas or something, would you feel like you would need to? I don't know how the scene. I've never been to Vegas, number one, but
Beautiful.
would you need to create some sort of identity there to prevail? Like, would you need to be like the chick you said that was a midget? Like, would you need some sort of gimmick to be successful?
I think I could, and I think I wouldn't have to as well. I think that could go both ways, really. Like, people always say when I tell them that I really like enjoy Vegas and I maybe want to move there one day, they're like, "Oh, but it's just a bunch of foreign girls there that make a lot of money, like Russian girls and German girls." I'm just like, yeah, you're right. But at the same time, yes, the clubs are probably very saturated there, but it's just like competition isn't that much of a thing to me because if I want it, I'm gonna get it. Like if
Yeah.
I will take the time that because I'm very spiritual, so I'm gonna manifest what I want and what I need. But as far as like gimmicky, I would say that we all have different personas that we play onto.
Yeah.
That's part of being a sex worker. We play into different, character roles. My favorite character role is Nadia Cole. That's my biggest character role. Do I play other little ones for specific people? Yes, of course I do. I play into fantasies. That's what I do.
Yeah.
But I guess like I said, I would research. I would observe when I go to Vegas more. And I'm like, what sells the most? That's the character I'm going to play here. Might even change my name. I went by a different name when I was in Chicago.
Really? So
Yeah.
how hard is that to keep up?
Like different names?
Yeah.
It's not too hard because most of the time it's like I don't think they had a Nadia there. I think I just wanted to play with a different name. I was like, new city, new me. But I don't think it'd be that hard. My name for sure is Nadia Cole. Like that's the one I'm gonna keep when I go
Yeah.
everywhere. That is my online persona and that's who I am in my club. But I think when it comes to different cities, if somebody already has your name, then you have to go by something different. But
Yeah.
it's whatever. I'm going to just pull out whatever from my ass that I can. Like, if I feel like if this is the energy for this city, that's who I'm going to be.
Dang, that's wild.
That's so fun to me. I'm going to just throw on a wig and be a completely new person.
Do you do that a lot? Like wear crazy makeup or like hairstyles or anything like clothes?
I'll do that online. Like, I'll have fun doing that online because it's easier to do. But in the club, like, especially here, I won't do that because, like I said, my clientele is usually older men and they like a girl next door type. So that's who Nadia is. Nadia is like girl next door. So,
wow.
the long natural hair, just the little bit of makeup, not a lot. Just like men don't know what makeup looks like. So I can literally have a full face on and they're
That
like,
is the
wow, I
truth.
love how you look so natural and no makeup on. I'm like, yes, daddy. No makeup for you. They don't even know. They don't even know. So I'm the perfect just like girl next door type.
Men
But-
are idiots. We
Yeah.
are stupid.
They are. So, but when I do want to throw on a wig or do fun makeup, that's cool. I'll play different characters like for different things on OnlyFans or whatever. But
That's wild.
in the club, I usually stick to my like basic look because it sells.
So I'm big on research, education in a career field. I'm always just like on YouTube looking up videos on like music production, stuff like that. So how do you get better? Like, how do you progress? How do you improve on your game?
I just observe others, like, especially having Twitter is really great because I can see what other sex workers do, how they market, what gets the most attention, like, what is it that they're selling? Like, there's financial dominatrix, there's people who are, like, submissive, there's so many different types of fetishes out there, and I love researching them. I love researching the different types of fetishes so then I can, like, incorporate that into my work. Because it's like, while I might not be into something, I know other people are, so I want to
Yeah.
cater to that. But I love research. I love learning new things and trying new things. So
Absolutely.
I'm just always paying attention, really. That's all it is. It's paying attention.
Has there been something that you tried and it failed and you were like shocked that it failed?
There's not a lot. I feel like I, like, do pretty well at most things that I try, but I do remember there was somebody who wanted me to be, like they wanted me to be a dominatrix, but in a very, like, aggressive way. So he wanted to be like a sugar daddy, right?
Yeah.
But he wanted me to come over there and, like, tie him up and, like, basically beat the shit out of him. And that was his kink. But I never went and did it because at first I'm like, oh, I can do this, like, easy money. But
You had to
then
pump yourself up.
as I'm
I
like
can do
thinking
this.
about it, I'm like, I cannot do this shit. Like, as much as I would love to beat the shit out of an old man for just like no apparent reason,
Oh my God.
I just can't do it.
That is
I
hilarious.
can't do it. I really couldn't. He would have to like really disrespect me in some type of way, and they'll be like, "Yeah, I'll come over there and like beat you up. Can I bring a bat?"
Oh my God.
I don't know. I could just see something going wrong there too.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, what if I accidentally kill this man?
Oh my
Then I'm screwed.
Yeah, that's oh man. So did he have any kind of like advice? Did he have any like, okay, do this to me, or he just like
Yeah, he had advice. He was very specific about what he wanted.
Okay.
Like, he was like, I can't finish. Like, you have to just torture me the whole time. And I was like, oh, like, that's too much. I was like,
Holy smokes.
listen, like, my specialty is making men finish in less than like 5 minutes, okay? So you're telling me my job now is to make sure that you don't? I don't know how to do that.
Oh man.
That's not my specialty.
Phew.
So I don't know how to do that.
So okay, so have you done it before? Like, have you ever done any kind of dominatrix stuff before?
No.
So that would have been the first.
Like, I can dress the part and play the part, like, online.
Yeah.
Like, I've gotten more comfortable with, like, dirty talk and stuff like that. Because at first I was like, ew, you want me dirty talk on camera and say, like,
That's
ew. But after a while, I got used to it. After I started doing, like, phone sex and stuff, it just kind of came natural. I was like, wow, I'm good at this.
Yeah.
So I can do that online. No problem. I can say some real crazy shit if I wanted to. But as far as, like, in person, I just don't think I could do it. Maybe if I had somebody else, like, go with me, like another sex worker who was also there, because one, that would make me feel more safe. And two, like, it would be easier because then we could just, like, both do it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know.
So how safe is that scene? Like, you know, this guy, I'm assuming he wanted you to come to his house. Like,
Yeah, probably.
So how safe is that scene?
It's really not that safe at all.
I wouldn't think so.
So in cities where sex workers are like full service and they actually like, you know, like have sex with their customers, you have to go through a screening process and you have to make sure that you don't have your real information. Like, one of my friends, she lives in another city and she has somebody that she pays that does the screening for her. Like, they make sure that this person is a customer that's okay. They background check them, they get their information, and then it's a safe, you know, thing to do. And if it happens to be that the customer does abuse the sex worker, then they are blacklisted and every sex worker knows about them. But the unfortunate part of that is, since sex work is illegal so many places, even in places it is legal, it's just that the police aren't going to help us.
Yeah.
Nobody, if I were to get molested in my club, am I going to get help? No, probably not. Because they're like, you're a stripper, you deserve that. Like, you knew what you were coming into. It's crazy. Like, sex workers do not have the help of the law, and that's why decriminalization is so important. It's so important that we are able to just do whatever in the sex worker world, because if not, if we do get abused, if we are raped on the job, who's going to help us? We can't report it because we're technically doing an illegal activity.
Is there anybody who's like out there advocating for that, like a specific person who is, you know, trying to get legislation for this kind of stuff?
Honestly, I couldn't think of any specific names at the moment. I'm trying to be a better, like, more political stripper, but there's just not any big known names that I know of that are really pushing for that.
Yeah.
If anything, more, you know, like, politicians and whatnot, they're trying to push towards ending all forms of sex work. They're trying to push it off the internet sites. Like, I don't know if you saw that Pornhub was recently just, like, cleared of all, like, people who weren't verified, which I think is dope. If you're not verified, people who were uploading to Pornhub and they didn't have a verified account. So you didn't know how old they were, you didn't know who they were, you didn't know whose content they're uploading. So I think that was very important that was passed. But I think that leading into the future, that it's going to come more towards sex workers rather than abusers. And that's just part of the problem. Like I said, where people think that human trafficking and sex work is the same thing, they try to push a lot of legislations to end quote unquote sex trafficking, but it doesn't actually do anything for sex trafficking survivors or victims. It actually just targets sex workers. So it hurts everybody in the end.
Well, this is how you start the podcast.
Yeah, is talking about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably an extreme uphill battle because of what you just said. Like people are already trying to stop it and decrease it. So I don't know. Like I would feel like for sex workers to get more rights, they would need strong backing. Like a person who is not only politically involved, but also like a major name, like a big name person would have to be strongly backing it which that's true for most things. Like if you want something done, you need a big name person to be backing it with a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, ugh.
It's just so ironic to me because majority of these politicians and like people in power are the ones who engage in like sex work. Like they are the ones paying for services.
As we saw with Trump and Stormy Daniels.
Yes. Like I've actually had like local politicians that were my regulars. Were they going to help us? No. No. I've been in other cities where plenty of like police officers like were coming in there, and which scares me because if somebody like tells me that they're a cop before they like get a dance from me or anything, I'm just like, oh, never mind. Oh, never mind.
I was actually have you ever heard of what's it called? I'm about to butcher the name. Is it Smeagol? Not Smeagol. Meagle?
Omegle?
Omegle. Yeah. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
Okay. There's
I was on
that.
it when I was younger.
Oh yeah, and then there's what's the other one? Shoot. I actually heard of this other one before I heard of Omegle. It's another thing that's like Omegle. I can't think of the name.
I feel like I know what you're talking about, but
yeah.
I can't think of the name.
But I was using those and like rapping for people over that. So, whenever I would like skip to the next person or whatever, I would tell them what I do because they'd see my setup. Like I had a nice mic and they'd be like, "Oh, are you a YouTuber?" That's what they always say. Are you a YouTuber?
Are you famous?
Like,
what do you do?
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, I do podcasts and I'm a rapper. Rap for me, which I kind of felt bad at a certain point because they always say, "Oh, rap for me."
That's
I'm
good
like,
practice, though.
yeah. After I
that.
thought about it, I'm like, oh yeah, because I've never done a show before. I don't even know if I ever want to do shows, but I was like, well, this is me rapping for somebody else. Like I never had to rap for somebody, so I was like, oh, this is kind of good practice. It's just one person or however many people were on the video, but shoot, I forgot where I was going with this. Oh, I guess just like the people that you would see on that. It's just random folks. But if they can find out who you are, it's kind of like, oh, snap.
I remember my first encounter with Omegle. I was probably about 13. And my friend and I would get on it, and we would just, like, talk to random people, obviously. But I swear that was the first time ever in my life I saw somebody else's genitals. Because literally every time we would skip one, it would be an old man with, his dick out or doing something crazy.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of pedophiles on there because I know there's little kids on it that are just going through it.
Exactly.
So it was disgusting, but that really like opened me up to the world. I was like, wow, this is a thing. This is a thing on the internet.
Yeah. I mean, I would probably say that's half of the people that you get to is just like dudes jacking off on there. And it's like, that's crazy because that platform legit could be useful. Like, just talking about like OnlyFans, that people just think it's only like strippers and nude people.
Nude people.
Yeah, it's literally like it could be a good platform.
Yeah.
But people already have a certain perception of what it's about. And it's what you said earlier was pretty crazy. I never thought about that. Is sex workers take over anything that they get on.
They literally do. I recently learned that like so Patreon, like when you think of Patreon, you think of artists selling their artwork. At least that's what I think of because that's always how I saw it. I don't know if you know about that girl that sold her bathwater that made like hella money.
Her bathwater?
You haven't heard of that? Oh my God. There was this gamer girl. I don't remember what she was on. But I think she was a Twitch girl. Yeah, Twitch.
Oh my God, that's funny.
And she took a bath and took a video of her like bottling it, and she sold it, and she made a fuck ton of money. I couldn't tell you the number, but man, I wish I could. I was like, if I had thought of that first and started selling my bath water, man.
Why can't you do it now?
I probably could, and I might.
Just do it.
You know what? I'm gonna add that to my OnlyFans.
What's the worst thing that's going to happen? You sell none? You're selling none right now.
You know what? I'm gonna go home and take a bath later and bottle up my bath water. But
There you go.
yeah, I also learned. I think she's on Patreon, and Patreon they have different tiers because you know, like artists would sell like, oh, if you subscribe to this one, you can watch me paint, or this one you get like free merchandise and out, blah, blah, blah. There's actually sex workers on Patreon that have different tiers for different things, like foot fetishes or like, you know, girl on girl or boy on girl types of porn or just solo porn, stuff like that. All different types of tiers. I was like, man, we literally take over everything.
Yeah.
And that's so cool to me, yet all these platforms try to kick us off and we're what make them so successful.
Yeah.
Like, OnlyFans would not be near as successful as they are without sex workers.
Nobody would even know what that is.
No, they really wouldn't. They really, and like, that's sad to say because, you know, other people's professions are valid and they're, you know, worthy of being known.
Yeah.
But sex workers just like, we have that power.
Yeah. I mean, think if Spotify was like video porn. Like,
Man.
you could have playlists and stuff like that.
Man, that'd be so dope, though. That'd be so dope.
Yeah. Like,
They should probably consider that. They'd make a lot of money.
oh, there you go, Spotify. I got you.
We just gave you $1 million idea.
$1 billion. So, I don't know. Like, if you just try, like, completely random stuff like that, you know, she's selling her bathwater. Like, oh, shoot. Rachel was talking about somebody. They would sell their socks. People wanted like their pre-worn or not pre-worn, but like post-worn. I guess.
Listen,
their
I
socks.
know girls that sell their underwear, their socks, their dance outfits. I actually just recently learned of something very smart, and I'm so glad I learned it before I threw out my old shoes. One of the girls in the club, she was saying that when she like. So most strippers, we use this brand called Pleasers, which is like the stripper shoe pretty much. And they make all like the stripper heels. Of course, there's other, you know, companies that make them, but Pleasers are the best known for strippers. And so she said that she wanted to get a new pair of Pleasers. So she sold her old ones for like a good bit of money. So I have a really nice pair. They were like $200. They're rhinestone. They've been worn out, okay? Like, I've cleaned them so many times, but they're so dark to the point where I can't clean them anymore. Like, they're just over with. They're kind of cracked on the plastic, too, like where the top of the shoe is.
Yeah.
So I'm like, these were expensive shoes. I want new ones. They have all of my secretions on them, real great. All this little magic. So I'm going to sell them. I have yet to post them yet. So if anybody wants them, they are for sale. I should probably do like a bid war on eBay or something.
Yeah.
Or on my OnlyFans.
Yeah, that'd be wild. I mean, your possibilities are endless.
Yeah. One thing I won't do is sell my underwear, though, because like I said, I am very spiritual. So to me, that's just, it's too much for me personally.
Like selling your soul.
Yeah. Like, that's
A
just
piece of you.
so, yeah. Like, that part of my body, like, that is just so, like, sacred to me. And because I make so much money off, like, sacred parts of my body, like, the secretions are just, like, that's too much magic. That's too much power to give to someone, I feel like. So I'm not just going to, like, sell it and give it to anybody. Who knows?
Yeah.
They might put it on a doll and, like, mess with me. I don't know. They might appear in my dreams. Who knows? It's just too much.
So where does that side of you come from, like being spiritual? Did you always grow up that way, or?
Ironically, like, my parents were very different. My mom was very Christian and my dad was super atheist. So I would go to church with my mom, and then I would come home and my dad would be like, watch these non-Jesus videos, watch like these atheist videos. Like, as soon as I would get home from church, so it would be like a constant battle. Like, he would want me to think this, my mom would want me like to think that. But one thing I am grateful for with my mother is that when I decided I wanted to stop going to church, she let me. So for a while, I was like, okay, like I want to listen to his side. And then I would listen to hers. And then it kind of just me cultivating my own ideas
Yeah.
of what was,
Yeah.
basically. So now I'm just like a very spiritual person. I believe in everything and like nothing at the same time.
That's deep. Yeah. I mean, there's probably countless people who are Christian in the South that aren't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's just like people want to say that they're Christian and then like pick out certain things from the Bible that they want to abide by, but then
Yeah.
like don't abide by any of the other rules. So I'm like, how, if we can just pick and choose everything, like I guess I'm literally a part of every religion, huh?
Yeah.
Like I could say I'm Christian, I could say I'm Buddhist, I could say I'm literally anything.
Yeah, and that it really takes out the religion part of it. And a lot of people make fun of people that like you were saying, they're spiritual, but I mean that's something that is as fluid as you want it to be.
It is. It's so fluid. And for me, I just realize how powerful I am as a person, how powerful we each are. And when you believe that you are powerful and that you can bring what you want to you, or that when you realize that what you put out, you get back, it's really groundbreaking. Like,
Yeah.
I did not realize how powerful I was until I was manifesting the things that I wanted for myself. And even in the times when I would do things that weren't in my best interest and it would come back to me, I'd be like, wow, like I should not have done that shit because look what just happened. You know?
Yeah.
So things just always come back around and we are constantly creating our reality every single day. So if I want a different tomorrow, I got to make today different. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm a big advocate for people just giving off the energy that they want to get back. And so I'm always like, as I was saying, I'm investing in my friends, like the people who I see really are striving to do something. I can't wait to like buy something that they're doing or like give them money for it, because at that point, that's on them if they fail. Because if I seen somebody post one time, they were like, the reason why a lot of people fail that are from the area that you're from is because people didn't support them.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm always trying to share everybody's posts, that I support and like support my friends' businesses and whatnot and just do whatever I can to help. And one thing I have realized is that a lot of people in Memphis, they will complain also about people not supporting them, but then they also don't support their community. So I'm just like, if you want help and you want to be successful and network, you also have to help your community. You also have to share people's posts. You also have to invest in other people, and that comes back to you. But don't just do it because you want it to come back to you, because it won't work that way. If you are doing it out of pure selfishness, it will not come back to you in the way that you want it to.
No.
So
And you can call that spirituality, or you can call that just straight facts.
that's just reality to me.
Yeah, it's just straight reality. I mean, people genuinely will be nice to you if you're nice to them. Like very few people are just dicks for no reason. Like generally, if you are nice to somebody and like show that you are going out of your way to support them or help them, whatever they're doing, they will usually be like, oh, that's a nice person, I'm going to be nice back to them. I don't know if I would consider myself nice. Like, so my definition of nice is like doing nice things when you don't want to.
Yeah. Oh, I don't do anything when I don't want to. If I don't want to do it, why am I doing it? It's not genuine.
That's what I call like being nice is, but otherwise you're just being generous.
Yeah.
Like, you're just, doing a good deed, going out of your way to do a good deed. So, but I feel like I usually try to take care of people in a way that they'll pass it on. I feel like there needs to be certain people who are straight up just teachers. They're leading by example. They're not just like jumping down people's throat like you need to do this and such and such.
Being very critical.
Yeah.
You got to practice what you preach.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that is something that Instagram is pretty, I guess, it's pretty weird to watch. So, God, what's that dude's name? Supreme Patty. Do you know who that is?
I don't.
So there's this white kid. I'm not sure how old he was, but he was doing all these like weird things on Instagram, and I think it was on YouTube as well. But it was just like, just weird antics, just trying to make a scene. And he went by Supreme Patty, because I always wore like Supreme clothing and whatnot. And there's this one video that everybody thought he was really annoying, but he was getting like hundreds of thousands of millions of hits on YouTube and Instagram. Well, he made this one video where he had like a ton of boxes of Little Caesars and was giving it out to a bunch of homeless people.
Yeah.
So he's just like feeding all these homeless people. And all the comments under this video were like, you don't have to videotape that. You could just do nice things.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, yes. He didn't have to videotape that and post it to show everybody he's doing something nice. But he did it, though.
Yeah, but he did it.
At the end of the day, he still did it, though.
I think when it comes down to that, like people videoing the homeless, I think it's about the way that it's done and why it's being done. Like, what's the energy behind it, for one? Yeah. How is it being done? Like, I saw this video, I think it was a TikTok, where this girl, it was just a picture of this girl with her, or a video with this girl with her phone, and she was like walking up, and you and the viewer were supposed to be like the homeless person, like with the bag and putting the camera in your face. And I'm just like, man, like if you do it like that, I feel like you're just being an asshole. Yeah. Like you're just wanting the clout. Yeah. But I feel like if the camera is a way to where like they can't really like, it's not like in their face.
Yeah.
But also you want people to know that they're being filmed. Like, you don't want to take away that level of consent.
Yeah.
But I think it's just more so, like, if you're focused on helping people and you are wanting to lead by example, like, you're doing it solely to lead by example, I don't think there's a problem with it.
Yeah.
However, I think that you should be letting the people know and ask them if they're okay with being filmed first. Don't just do it and then upload it.
Yeah.
Because not, like... If I was homeless, I wouldn't want everybody out here knowing I'm homeless. I don't want to be posted up everywhere.
True.
Like, if somebody came up to me with something and they were, like, videoing me, I'd grab the other shit out their hand and I'd smack the phone out. Get that shit out my face. That's so funny. Rude.
Yeah. I mean, but in this day and time, like, that's all people are looking for is to be famous in videos and stuff like that. I can't imagine what that's like to be super famous and all people want to do is whip their phone out and videotape you.
Yeah.
There's some video of Logic, the rapper Logic. He's talking about, I can't remember where he was at. He might have been like a McDonald's or something. And he's like, I think he said he was trying to order his food and somebody like just started taking their phone out and just started like videotaping him. And he was
Consent, man.
Yeah, he was like, nope. Put your phone down. Hi, my name is.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of stuff.
That's such weird behavior to me. Like, people just act like they have no home training.
Yeah.
They see somebody famous and they're just like, oh my God, like I have to video them or I'm just going to run up on them. And I'm just like, you need to like ask consent first.
Yeah.
Consent is a thing.
So speaking of consent, how's the whole thing work in the club as far as like, especially if you're going into like a back room.
Mm-hmm. Well, I tend to like lay it down before I go back there. Mm-hmm. Sometimes my customers will ask me, they're like, okay, what can I and what can I not do? And then some people who don't speak English, like if they try to touch me, I'm going to like hit their hand and tell them no. Some people are aggressive and they'll continue to try. Some men will just automatically try to like lick my back or something and I just have to like elbow them. But most of the time, everybody's pretty respectful. It just depends on where I'm at, where I'm dancing. That's really all. It just depends.
How's the security?
And my club security is good.
Yeah.
They're on top of their shit. They're always there. Like, if I call out, like, somebody's going to be there. But in other clubs, I've noticed that the security is not that tight. Like, when I went and danced in Chicago, the security, like, I probably won't go back to this club ever because... The club was beautiful. I'm not going to name it, but the club was beautiful. The clientele, though, was kind of weird. And the security was really rude to traveling dancers. Like, they were just, like, so aggressive towards us for no reason. And I was like, okay, well, at least, like, they have good security. And then one night as we're leaving, we're waiting for the valet to bring us our vehicle. And I hear, like, all the securities grouped up together, and I overhear them. Somebody got into the club with a pistol in their jacket. I want to know how in Chicago, with, like, so many security guys getting on my ass about where I need to go, are so worried about me that they let somebody in with a gun. And that would never happen in my club. They are getting patted down. Everybody's always watching. Like, I just, that's so crazy. In Chicago, though, in, like, a nice club, how could that have happened?
That's crazy.
And then I just didn't take them seriously anymore from that moment. I was like, y'all want to act so hard towards me, yet you can't even check your own customers.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You're like, I'm bouncing, never coming back.
He pulled it on a dancer too.
For what?
I don't know. He was just out of his right mind. I think he was on something, but
That's weird.
it was very weird. I'm glad I walked out of there before it happened.
What's probably the craziest thing that's happened to you in a club?
Happened to me? I haven't had really anything crazy happen to me in the club. Like, I mean, I have annoying customers every now and then, but
Yeah.
nothing super crazy has happened. I've seen, like, other things happen. Like, I've seen fights every now and then. My club is pretty chill. There's not really, like, fights in there that often. It's usually between other dancers, but there has been a couple between, like, a dancer and a customer that I've seen where customers, like, try to steal money off the stage, and then the dancer is, like, goes to punch them, and then
Oh, snap.
the customer goes to punch them back, like, crazy stuff like that.
Dang.
But it's usually a pretty calm environment.
Yeah.
There's nothing too crazy other than, like, people trying to video us, and then, you know, we have to track down who's videoing what because it's not allowed. But that's about it. Nothing too wild. Like I said, our security's good.
So you've got OnlyFans. You've got. Did you say you had a Patreon?
I don't, but I've been considering making one.
Yeah, you got to start that up and start selling your bath water.
My bath water, yes.
Got to make that money.
Maybe even some of my juice if I like spit it back up and put that in the bottle. I could probably sell that too. Fresh organic juice with a little bit of my saliva.
That's crazy.
Somebody's got to be into that.
Somebody will.
Hey,
be
nobody
into
steal my idea. I thought of it first.
So, what is? I guess like, what's your next step? Like, what else are you planning?
I just really go with the flow. I feel
Yeah.
like I don't really like necessarily plan things. Like I'll do my research and then I just kind of jump into it. Like it's just like a momentary thing. I'm like, oh, I feel like doing this. Type. Next day. Okay, I'm doing it now. Like that type of thing. But I don't really know. Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna travel in about a week to go probably back to St. Louis and work since my club is closed. But I really do, a goal of mine for this year is to get back into painting more and sell
Okay.
more pieces of art. Maybe make enough for a like a venue, like an art show, because I've been offered one before, but I didn't have enough art for it,
Yeah.
or I didn't feel confident enough in my art yet. So that's a part of me that I want to get back into more. Like I said, I have considered starting my own podcast, something that goes along the lines of like focusing on sex work.
Yeah.
Maybe like all of sex work. I know there's a podcast that focuses on just stripping. So
Oh, really?
yeah, I wouldn't want to do just that. I feel like I'd want to, you know, take under everything underneath the umbrella and
Yeah.
put it in there.
Well, if you need any help, just let me know.
Oh,
Like,
I probably will be in touch about that
Yeah,
because I
no
can
doubt.
use all the advice.
yeah. I've tried to help people start up podcasts and stuff like that before, so I definitely enjoy just being able to, let people know, hey, get this, do that, because I want to be like a bridge in Memphis. And as I said, I've only been here since April 2019. So this coming up April is going to be like an anniversary for me to just like recollect on the people that I've connected and learned about and stuff. So I enjoy just like helping people, start something that they haven't been doing, because life is short.
It's so short. You don't know how much time you have. So if there's something you're passionate about or want to try, just do it.
Yeah.
Literally just do it.
How old are you?
I'm 23.
23.
I had to think about that for a second.
So I mean, like, being at your age, you're a baby.
That's
You know
what
I mean?
everybody says every time they meet me. They're like, "You're such a baby." I'm like, "I feel old as hell." That's funny y'all say that because I feel old as hell, but I know I'm not.
I mean, me too. I'm 28.
Yeah.
But I still treat myself as if I'm like just graduated high school. And
Maybe that's what I should do. I feel like I treat myself like I'm a middle-aged woman.
yeah, you gotta like your outward body will reflect what happens in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
Like people, you can look at somebody and just know they think they're an old person. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you were just talking about like manifesting that stuff. Like I believe in manifesting
That is
things.
such a good point. I need to start acting younger.
Yeah, if you, like
Or
Rachel-
acting my age. Seriously. I don't even know what that means, though.
Yeah,
I really don't.
I think you can act young and still be mature.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have those two things mixed up. Like having a childlike mindset and being immature are two different things.
Right.
Because I think people who have a childlike mindset, they might not live longer, but they tend to live fuller.
Yes, I believe that 100%. That's a good point. So I guess in that sense, like I kind of do act my age because as mature as I can be and have had to be, I'm still very childlike at heart. Like I
Mm.
am such a child, especially when I'm at home alone. I'm just like bouncing all over the place. Like I'm just dancing around the house, painting, doing whatever. Like I'm very childlike at heart. So I do believe that helps in the aging process as far as like the wrinkles and the way that
Hmm.
your skin decays. I feel like that is a big thing. Your
Yeah.
mental health has a lot to do with your physical body. They're very connected.
Yeah. I mean, if you see somebody with like, baggy eyes and they just like look broke down, they're probably not mentally like thinking young. They're probably, bogged down, stressed out, and it shows on their face. Like, you see somebody with pimples all over their face, they're probably stressed.
Yeah, it's a lot of that. Like a lot of your mental health affects your physical body in the sense like if you are super stressed out all the time, then you are going to age faster. You're going to get gray hairs faster. Your face is going to get wrinklier. You're just going to feel really depleted. Especially like by the things that you might eat or the things that you consume that aren't just food, like what you see on your phone every day. Or if you're just over consuming things that you don't need that aren't good for you, it's going to affect your physical body.
Yeah. So speaking of that, how do you feel? I guess the best comparison to the question I'm about to ask is like bodybuilders who are natural. Like, they eat healthy, they work out, and then that's it. And then they see these bodybuilders who are on steroids, and they're like, man, I want to look like that. But it's like, you can't because that person has some enhancements.
Yeah.
What about your industry? You see the girls who get like lip injections, butt injections, fake boobs, all that kind of stuff. Like, do you feel as if, first of all, does that affect you mentally?
I will say that there are times where I have thought, well, what if I did, change certain things about my body? Like
Yeah.
what would happen then? Like would I have more clientele? What is the difference in the clientele between what I have and what they have? And as it comes down to it, like a lot of girls think that if they get their body done, they're gonna make more money.
Yeah.
And while you can, but I really just think it's a mindset. Like if I
Yeah.
want to make more money now, I can make more money now and not do a thing to my body. But I also just believe as well that if you're going to do something to your body, like change it so drastically, like please do it for yourself and not the club. Because clubs everywhere have different ideals of women that they want, for one. And for two, the club isn't going to last forever. Of course, there's, strippers who go into stripping like their 50s and 60s. That's not what I'm saying is that you're going to age out of the industry. What I'm saying really is that when you are doing something for anyone other than yourself, it's not sustainable. You're not going to be happy like that forever. You're always going to find something else to change because it's based off other people's perceptions. And I just don't really want to get necessarily trapped in that loop. And that's not me saying that I won't ever get anything done. But if I do decide to get something done, it's going to be because I want to try a new look. It's because I'm going to be like, oh, well, this body has been fun, but I'm going to try like another thing. I'm going to try looking different.
Yeah.
That's the fun part of it is that our body is just our flesh. It's not really who we are. It's just what we're occupying at the moment. So play with it. Like that's completely fine. I completely support, plastic surgery, but just make sure that you're doing it for yourself and not just for monetary reasons or for other people or for the club.
Yeah, there was a segment of an interview from was it Jim Carrey? Yeah, I think it was Jim Carrey where he said those exact same words. He was trying to explain, like people were calling Jim Carrey crazy, and what he was trying to explain was like your body is literally just a fleshly thing, and who you are is really like your thoughts. Like your thoughts is Nadia Cole. Whatever you look like, I'm just looking at a thing right now.
Yeah.
Like it's not you. It's just you just so happen it's just a vehicle.
Yeah, it is
Like
a vehicle.
your body is just a vehicle that transports your thoughts from one place to another. And when he was trying to explain it, people were like, yo, Jim Carrey, he's crazy.
Yeah.
But I completely understood it because, if so you're a thin female, you could get huge if you wanted to. Like you would eat a lot of, you could get fat, you
Mm-hmm.
could get really buff, but that doesn't change who you are. It just changes
Yeah.
what you look like.
Yeah.
So it's it's really hard for people to understand that concept. They get too much into what I look like is who I am. But
Mm-hmm.
what you look like just shows us who you are up here. It doesn't really show
Right.
us who you are as a whole. And it helps us get a good grasp of who you are as a whole person,
Mm-hmm.
but not so much. It's not everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that isn't to say not to take care of your body or not to do things that
Yeah.
are best for you. But to go an example of that, like when I used to work at the restaurant, I didn't look like I look like now. Like when I started dancing, my body started toning up a lot more. But also, I noticed that the healthier my mental was, the healthier my physical body was, and
Mm,
that I'm able to digest certain foods way better now than I could before. Even if they're not the healthiest foods, like if I ate some junk food right now, like a donut or something, before it'd been harder for me to digest it and I'd probably break out. But if I did it now, just like me saying that I'm a digested well. Like
mm,
having that mental capacity of being like, I can speak this into existence, then it's going to happen.
yeah.
And a lot of people know me as being really like healthy or being all about health because, like I did the juice and I'm always talking about like food combining and stuff like that on like my Soul Poppy page. So people know me as being a healthy person. But people always ask me like, how do you get your body look the way it does? And while part of that is genetics,
Yeah.
part of it is also dancing. But another big part of it is me and my thought process.
Yeah.
I truly believe that we can literally like recondition our bodies to make it look the way that we want to, just through like meditations, through breathing, through praying over our food before we eat it. There's so many little details that I feel like people miss out that could completely change their lives and their physical body. And so if I were to get plastic surgery, what I would do is like I would pray over my body first and I would see like what is my body speaking to me? Does my body want that? And if I feel like my body's going to reject it, I'm not going to get it. Because there's plenty of women who have gotten like breast implants and then got diseases right afterward because their body
Mm,
rejected it.
yeah.
So I think it's just very important to be in tune with yourself before doing something like that.
Do you think of your body and your mind as like two things that are trying to work together, or do you think of it as just like one whole thing, like one whole unit?
That's a really good question. At times I feel as though they can act separate, but I do think that they are one as well.
Hmm.
And I do believe that we have more than one brain. Like we have the brain in our head, but our gut is our second brain.
Mm,
So, and that's a part of what we would consider our physical body. So
yeah.
I would have to say that like it's all one.
Mm.
It's all connected.
Yeah, it's tough to like, especially when you're just trying to make a decision. Like you analyze stuff and you do your research and you try to figure out, what you should do, and then people always talk about like follow your gut. And it's like,
Hmm.
oh, my brain is this my brain telling me to do this, or is this my gut? You don't know. So it's tough when you have that kind of, people talk about being woke, like you're trying to find some sort of real reason for things, a real revelation that you're having in your brain, and it's like, is this real? Like,
Hmm.
am I really supposed to do this or not? So I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just important to feel into your body and your body will tell you. Like if people just like took the time to meditate, and meditation isn't always like just sitting down and like being still. There's active meditation such as like painting or like working out and stuff like that. If you just really take the time to be with your thoughts, whether you're physically moving or not, I feel like people would like come to a lot of realizations, especially
Mm,
within their physical body. Like you're going to
yeah,
learn things about yourself that you didn't realize before.
yeah, for sure. Well, on that note, it has been great talking to you.
It's been great talking to you too.
Yeah. Give everybody your everything. So all socials, websites,
Hmm.
whatever you want to.
Let's see. My Instagram is Soul Poppy, so that's SOUL and then POPPIE. And with that, I have another Instagram, which is Nadia Cole. It's Nadia Cole straight out, but the O is a V instead because somebody already took my name.
Oh, snap.
My Twitter is also Soul Poppy, and then my Facebook is Nadia Cole, and my Snapchat is the Serpentress. It's like a serpent.
If somebody were to subscribe to you in something, well, I guess OnlyFans would be the thing, right? Mm-hmm. Is that
For now?
Yeah.
Yeah, until I open up some new avenues as far as online work.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it would be great to be able to work with you with anything. I've got tons of video camera stuff, microphones. If you need to make like announcements or something like that, just let me know.
Yeah, I love that. I'm thinking about making a YouTube this year, so I'm just trying to go out like on as many platforms as I possibly can.
Yeah. So if the podcast, you're talking about doing that. So yeah, just let me know, and I'll try to help you out.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
No doubt. All right. Well, thank you for everybody tuning in, and see you next time.